Hello, I've trekked right out today into the most uncharted Netherlands of the Bedfordshire borders to do a little experiment that I've wanted to do for a long time. At least 3 years, because I know that it's been at least 3 years that this little bucket of horse poo down here has been drying out of my shed. Let's have a look at that. Now, I'm going to be burning it in the Kelly kettle. Traditionally, one would use wood or whatever dry organic material you've got. These things are famous for burning anything. They're very quick, very efficient. I love it. And basically, the windier it is, the better they work, which is pretty unusual. But this horse poo, I've been drying it out in the greenhouse for the last, well, 3 years. Because I keep reading in all the blurb for a Kelly kettle that in much hotter, drier parts of the world where there's a lack of trees but there are lots of grazers pooping everywhere, they use this in a Kelly kettle. Now, I'm very familiar with how good these things are using wood, so I've always wanted to try this out. I've got some poo, I've got some wood, I've got my Kelly kettle. Let's try it out and see what happens. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to boil a measured amount of water to a whistling boil using the wood first, like I normally would and like I've done many times. I'm expecting that to take maybe 3 or 4 minutes, but we'll time that and we'll see how long it takes to get the Kelly kettle to whistle. When we've done that and recorded the time, we'll do the same with the poo and see what we get. To get it started, I'm going to use my old favourite cotton wool with Vaseline on it. And I wouldn't normally bother, but just for the sake of a video, we'll use a fire steel ferro rod. I've got 2 litres here. I apologise if the wind's a bit of a problem. I'm not sure how this is going to sound because I can't use my windshield with the tripod, but being in the back garden it should be alright. Now, there's 2 litres here. I can't remember what this takes. I think it's about 1.5 litres. Get that in there first. Actually, we'll do that off the pan because I don't want to get any water in the pan. That's 1.7 litres. I remember now. That's what's left out of a 2 litre bottle. Yeah, I do remember now. It's 1.7 litres that this holds. So, here we go. 1.7 litres of cold water in a cold Kelly kettle. Now let's get this fire started with the wood. The back end of a saw on your Swiss Army knife, excellent for this. This is old smashed up fence post. Because I know this is dry, this will get it started nicely. And then for later on, I've got some sticks. Right, the wood's all starting to take, which means we can put this on. Now, the second you put the kettle onto the fire base, it creates an updraft. and it picks straight up. So let's start getting some wood in. Timer. Not too much to start with, obviously. It's really ripping now. Have a look. That's 1 minute and 5 seconds. The wind changed direction. The idea with these things is that you point the air intake there towards the wind, and it really fires it up nicely. Four minutes 20. Right, we've got a boil and a steamy lens. And that was 6 minutes 30. So I'm going to put out the fire with the petrol. We'll let everything cool down, and we'll start again from scratch, this time using the poo. I'm not holding out much hope for this, you know. Sort of burns. I'm going to start it off with wood. Hello, Jonesy. I'm going to start it off with wood because there's not a hope in hell of... That's just had a blowtorch on it and it's barely smouldering. There's no way that's going to start a fire. It might work, you know, as the main fuel once it gets going, but I'm guessing in the places where they use this as fuel, there's still going to be a bit of scrub. As you can see, I've got some scrub, but I'm not going to bother because I've got some bits of wood. So I'll start it off with wood, and then once it gets going, I'll start adding that as the main fuel. Like I said though, I don't know if this is actually going to work with this dried horse poo or not, and it is thoroughly dry. It is fully dry. I like to use some of the old half-burnt bits as well. They'll help to get it started a bit quicker. Right, I'll let that wood get going, and then we'll switch over to the dried horse poo. We'll see what happens. Right, wood's burning. Start adding these. They're just going to smother it, I reckon. It's all hay. Most of it's undigested. Couple of little nuggets. Minute 50. I have to say, at this stage, it's actually looking okay. Maybe it's all to do with the updraft. You know, the rush of oxygen coming across the dung. Actually looks okay. We're at 5 minutes 20. And that's doing pretty well. Right, there's our poo whistle. And we're at 7 minutes 59. The wood wins. And there's the burning poo. So it is a viable fuel. It wasn't as quick as the wood, by about a minute and a half. Nothing major. It was pretty close. And there you go, it's flaming away. You can still see there's a few bits of the original wood that I used to start it off. But that poo, that definitely works. So it's absolutely fine as a fuel. Maybe one day I might sort of set myself a little ultimate challenge and see if I can fluff this up enough to take a spark. I very much doubt it. But it works, doesn't it, as a main fuel? Tomorrow I've got a really good video coming. One that I've been waiting for. I'm meeting up with somebody to go somewhere. Might give a few of you a clue. Right, see you tomorrow. Cheers.